to see you all here. I was really excited to hear about this conference when Crystal invited me to talk. It's something that I really enjoy talking about, and I wanted to just spend a little bit of time this morning to talk about how positive attitude can really be helpful for your health in general. And there's several reasons why that's true. Let's see if do you have a password here? So when I was getting ready for this talk last night, my wife came to me and said, "Jesper, I really need to ask you a favor." And I said, "Okay, well, sure. I'd be happy to help you with whatever you need, honey." I sort of knew what was coming next. But she had some equipment on the table. She said, "Jesper, I need you to draw my blood." Being the doctor in the family, of course, that was something that she would ask me to do. Makes sense, right? And I said, "Okay." So she set all the equipment out. She had the test tube and everything was all set. And I noticed there was only one needle. And I said, "Okay, well, let me just give me a moment." And okay, we're going to get set up here. Put the first needle down, and then I proceeded to add 2 more needles. She said, What are you doing?" I said, "Well, that's, if I miss the first time." And she said, "Honey, it's just not worth our marriage." So setting expectations is a really important thing. So I'm going to talk to you about how positive attitude can really be effective in providing a lot of good raw materials for having health as we age. So the late Leonard Cohen states it very nicely, I think. There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. So I'll talk to you a little bit about what a lot of us are familiar. So we are going along, minding our own business, not a care in the world, and then we develop an acute injury, something that sets us back. So we do like anybody would do, and we Google it. And when our resources are entirely exhausted and our data plan is totally used up, we visit our doctor, who says, "Okay, where does it hurt?" "Well, it hurts right here." And so then the doctor proceeds to poke and prod at that area relentlessly, and then, "Okay, I've got some bad news. I think you have a Prozac deficiency." So you leave the doctor. I love Prozac. It's a great drug. It enables a lot of people to function. But a lot of times it leaves us feeling a little bit broken. We feel like we don't have the raw materials necessary to function and thrive in our lives. But I would argue that there are other pieces of your own health and your own body that enable you to thrive regardless of those circumstances, okay? So I'm going to talk about what I'm going to refer to as original injury. So this is an inciting event that causes your health to be compromised in some way, and we don't really understand why that might be. There might be a diagnosis with it, and there may not be. It could be an inflammatory condition. It could be something that causes our body to create an immune response. And understanding that immune response and understanding our bodies and understanding how our body works with us rather than against us, I think is important to really move through a process like that. So I'm going to talk about the environment of health and how trauma, stress, and psychological factors can influence those processes. They're actually adaptable. And then the genetics and the epigenetics that you can utilize to make sure that your mechanisms of healing are intact and they work for you again and rather than against you. So the first one is going to be in the inflammatory response. So this is, let's say it's an acute inflammation of a joint or something of that nature. Inflammation, we oftentimes villainize. Inflammation is a very important piece of our healing process. It is important to have that inflammation so that it can activate the immune system and release different chemicals and hormones that will facilitate repair in the areas that are needed. Okay? So in one way to think about it, sometimes when things are falling apart, they may actually be falling into place. So number 2 is the environment. And the environment is rather a cloak that we wear, everything that we surround ourselves with, from fresh air to whole foods, to high quality sleep, to high quality relationships with other people. All really critical aspects of health as we age. Stress is something that we're not unfamiliar with. It's sort of like energy. It can neither be created nor destroyed, apparently. But spending just 10 minutes every single day and focusing on your mind, spending 10 minutes in mindfulness and being a witness to the present moment, totally disconnecting from everything that we think we're connecting with. So nothing means no email. It means no chatting. It means no TV or books or eating or drinking. When was the last time you spent 10 minutes doing nothing? Who here is a Bruce Lee fan? Okay. So I think the way that he looked at his practice is a very telling. So genetics plays a pivotal role in healing, and it plays a pivotal role in how we age. The reason for that is because we can influence our own genetics. We have a process known as epigenetics, and it depends on different inputs into your genetic system, and you can influence how your genes are expressed. Transcription is not an on and off switch. It's very much a gray area. And so providing your body with the right environment, with the whole foods and stress management and clean air and sleep will influence how our genes are expressed. So creating lasting and positive health is dependent on several things that I think you can do today. Start with 3 gratitudes. So identifying 3 people in your closest social network and your expanded network and expressing gratitude for that person 3 times every single day. Journaling helps to train your brain to understand exactly why you're a great person and why your body was designed the way it was, and it can actually utilize its own resources to heal. If you journal every day and reflect on the past 24 hours and one positive experience you had over the last 24 hours, your brain will actually relive that moment, and it is much easier for your brain to then accept positive influence going forward. There was a study at UC Davis that showed that it was 70% easier to accept negative information or stimulus than positive information. And so it really does take work to integrate those positive experiences. Exercise trains your brain and tells your own body that it's valuable. And that is a really important thing for you to do as you age. There was another study where they randomized 2 groups of people. They were housekeepers in a hotel. They did the exact same job. The same job day after day. And when they randomized them, they did in one wing, they had an education session and facilitated the understanding for the first wing that what they were doing was beneficial to them. It was exercise. Whereas before they did not realize maybe that was the case. In their everyday life, they didn't realize that this was what they were doing was actually good for their own bodies. And at 3 months and 6 months, the primary outcome being improved mental health scores, lower blood pressure, general sense of well-being on different metrics. There was actually a statistically significant difference in the wing of people that recognized what they were doing as exercise. It could be your activities of daily living. It doesn't have to be a regimented exercise program. And then meditation and mindfulness, spending just 10 minutes every single day to focus on the present moment, can have huge and lasting benefits to your health. And then random acts of kindness every single day. When you open up your inbox, writing an email and thanking someone for the influence that they've had on your life can make a really big difference. So a positive attitude can really affect your health in a lot of different ways. And you have the tools to do it starting today. Those tools can create a lasting, rippling effect that can really make a big difference as we age. Thank you.